Hi, I'm Alex Follett and this is episode 14 of 51.5 Tips for a Beginner Property Investor. Today I'm going to talk about the cycle that we go through as property investors, and I've been member of different property forums for the last almost 3 years, and I've seen how investors behave, and I thought it would be fun to apply our behavior as property investors to Gartner's hype cycle, which was originally developed for technology, but I thought it would be fun to see how it applies to our journey as property investors. So first of all, I'm going to explain what Gartner hype cycle is, if you don't know. Then I'm going to explain how I think it applies to property investors, and I'm going to give examples from my own property journey because it definitely applies to me. So I've printed out here Gartner's hype cycle model. So it usually applies to technology. There is usually a technology trigger at the beginning. So if you think, a smartphone, there was a technology trigger to for the companies to be able to create smartphones. Then there is the peak of inflated expectations where everyone thinks, oh, it's going to be brilliant. Nobody knows of any failed projects. And then it goes all to the trough of disillusionment where, you're not so sure about how this technology is going to work, and investors are not so keen to invest sort of into companies that don't produce results. And then there is the slope of enlightenment where there is understanding of how actually this technology works, and then there is plateau of productivity, business as usual. So I think that us as property investors, all of us, we had some sort of a trigger for our property journey, and for many of us it was reading a book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You might have had a different trigger, but I think we all understood the importance of financial freedom, and this is what triggered our property journey. The next is peak of inflated expectations, and you can see it a lot in the forums where beginner property investors, they're so excited, and it's great. It is really important stage because it allows us to start our journey, and it's great if we can purchase one or two properties while we're really excited. We just go out and shout, yeah, I'm a property investor. There is downside to this stage because we don't often like to listen to reason, and we might be making some, decisions which we might regret in the future. And for me, this peak of inflated expectations happened in 2014, and it lasted for about 9 months, where I was doing direct-to-vendor marketing. I believed, yes, I can invest without having any money, and you can invest without having any money, but you really need to understand the full picture without getting yourself into trouble. And I think quite a good example of you see in the forum sometimes somebody posts, oh, I've been to a property event and I've spent all my life savings on a training course. How do I tell my other half? And you sort of think, I don't know. It's good to invest into your education, and I invested in my education, but there should be really balance to that. And then there is the trough of disillusionment. This is when you realize actually it's not as easy as people made you believe. And, you might have made some wrong decisions and you just, oh my God, it's really bad. For me, this stage lasted for about a year. So from the end of 2014 to the end of 2015, where, basically at the top of my excitement, I actually handed notice at work and I said I was going part-time. And then I realized, oh my God, I won't be able to afford living with only half of my salary, and I didn't buy any property until then, and it was just a realization that, oh my God, I have to go back to work. I was lucky that they really wanted me to come back, and they even increased my salary, which during 2015 enabled me to actually gather deposit to then start buying property. And some of you may know I was also separating from my husband during 2015, so I was completely out of the property scene for the whole year. And actually, I think at this point, many investors quit. So they never come back to these stages. But yeah, so that's life. The next stage is slope of enlightenment. This is where you understand, okay, that was just too much. And, property investment is not that bad. You just understand what strategies might work for you, and you just go and start doing it. And there is the plateau of productivity where you just get on with it and work and build your property business. Just to say that, if you are at the moment at the peak of inflated expectations and you're still listening to this video, I'm really proud of you, because at this stage, a lot of investors wouldn't want to listen to warnings that, you wouldn't want to listen to me saying this will come, the trough of disillusionment. So if you're still listening to this video, I can tell you that when you find yourself here, get in touch with me, have a chat, I'll support you. I'll invest my time to actually have a chat with you and help you out of here. And the slope of enlightenment happened for me at the end of 2015, where I decided, okay, this is what I want to do. I still want to do property investment, and I have a deposit. And in January 2016, I went again to do the training that I've done before. So I crewed at a property event, and where I met my business partner, and we just went and started with our first project. And now our first investment project in Liverpool, it's close to completion. So we are actually the first viewing will be next week, so for the first tenant. And actually I would like to add another stage to Gartner's hype cycle model, because at the end they actually don't have a stage where it's sort of the technology dies out, technology, it finishes. And I think as, property investor, it can happen as well. And, I went to a property event once, and there was a lady, she was just sitting there at the table, and I asked her, what do you do? And she was like, oh, I have lots of properties, but I'm just too tired of running them. I just want to sell them off. I didn't actually understand why she was there at the event, but I think she used to run that event and she just came for some sort of celebration. So, but she wasn't really interested in talking about it. So yes, there will be a stage possibly that, you won't be interested in it anymore. So yes, I hope you found this useful, and let me know what stage you are at. See you next week.